Welcome to the Otaku Network podcast. My name is Steve.
And I'm David.
And we are into week 3 of the 2024 fall season. All 3 shows are airing this week, so we will be discussing episode 3 of TsumaSho, the first episode of Blue Miburo, and episode 3 of Orb. So without further ado, we will get into it with TsumaSho, episode 3. Episode 3 picks up sometime later after the day out. Mai announces to them that she has a new job. She's decided that she's going to try joining the workforce again. She gets a job working as a consultant for a firm that teaches people how to use computers. Her first kind of official day on the job, she ends up getting wrangled into doing the consultation on her own with a younger gentleman who seems quite adamant against doing everything, so she kind of has a bad day with that. Previously, the 3 of them had discussed possibly going to see a fireworks display that was going to happen. Mai had to decline due to how long her job was going to take her away from home for this remote assignment that she did for her first day. Takai knew that her mother was going to be home, so she wouldn't be able to sneak out. Due to the stressful day at her job, on the train home, Mai gives Takai a call just to essentially decompress by talking with her mother. The situation has changed a little bit. Her mom has taken off for the evening, so she feels that she can sneak away and kind of maybe try to console her troubled daughter a little bit more. They discuss going to the firework festival. At the same time, Keisuke decides just to go on his own and ends up running into his coworker. Moria is there with a friend of hers, and her friend invites Keisuke with them, realizing that this is the person that Moria has been telling her about recently, and is kind of misreading the situation and wants to try to encourage an atmosphere that could lead to them maybe hooking up romantically. He agrees to go with them, seeing as he's just going to be on his own anyways. So they set up, and then Moria's friend goes, okay, I'm going to go get snacks. I'll be right back. And Moria is like, no, you're not going to leave me with him. Let me come with you. And when they're in the stall area, Moria kind of confronts her, and her friend fills her in about, the plan that she has, and she's trying to encourage her friend to hit it off with the older gentleman. Moria is pretty much adamant that it's not going to happen. While he's waiting there for them as they're getting beverages and snacks, Takai shows up, surprisingly. Before Keisuke can let Takai know what the situation is with him and why he's there, Moria shows up, and without thinking, he almost introduces her to his coworker as his wife. But Kaede, being the quick-witted one she is, quickly shifts the conversation, saying that she's his niece. For whatever reason, we don't see any more of Moria's friend at all, the episode. We have no idea where she wandered off to. But Kaede goes, here, I need to, I'm meeting with his daughter, so I'm going to go get her. So in the time when Kaede goes to meet Mai, there is a trope that is common in shonen romance, where there is a bit of a pratfall, and Moria ends up in a compromising position with Keisuke on top of her. That moment happens exactly as Mai shows up, misunderstands the situation, excuses herself to go home and cry. Realizing kind of what's happening with the situation, Kaede and Keisuke head back to try to console Mai. Things break down. Mai kind of rags into her father about, even considering replacing their mother, even though technically, she's dead. She's not there physically in the way that she was in the past, but Mai is clinging so much to the memory from 10 years earlier when they were a complete family. She can't bring herself to accept her father moving on from her mother, especially now in the situation of the reincarnation. So she storms off, locks herself in a room, and kind of pouts a little bit until Mai goes to try to console her more. As she's heading to the room, Mai kind of puts a dig into Keisuke, blaming him for his failure as a parent to recognize and help heal the grief that Mai was going through following her Kaede's death, which kind of sets him on this self-reflective mental pathway. There's a bit more bonding between mother and daughter, and Keisuke comes up with this resolution that the three of them will still remain a family regardless of whatever. And they all agree with it happily, and that's where we end the episode. The awkward fall thing with Moria was a bit much for me, because I'm so used to that and just terrible shonen romance things, so it seemed kind of like, oh god. And I don't know how I feel about this familial bond contract between the three of them. They're not gonna move forward at this rate, and they need to move forward.
Yeah, I think this show's just gonna turn into some creepy...
No, I don't know about that.
I'm losing hope. That contract was...
That was...
was stupid.
Yeah. It was
unnecessary.
It was created out of guilt-ridden desperation.
So, I'm losing hope with this show again.
I don't think it's going to set the tone for the show, but it does kind of drag it back a little bit. We left episode 2 with this idea of danger and threat and tension that was unfounded, and still remains to be unfounded, strangely enough. I don't know. We'll see what happens in episode 4, but beyond the whole... Well, okay. I was going to say the episode didn't really seem to do anything with the story. It just seemed to kind of spin its wheels a little bit. But I think that was because I was expecting more out of the situation with Mai's work, but all that was a catalyst for everybody to come together for the fireworks when they weren't supposed to come together, which led to then the awkward situation between Moria and Keisuke. It was really weird that Moria's friend just disappeared.
Yeah. Just ceased to exist.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna go get beers, and that was the last we saw of her.
Yeah, she literally apparated.
It'll be interesting to see a return in the show to Keisuke at the office, and how the interaction between him and Moria is gonna pan out, because it's gonna be super fucking awkward.
Yep.
So, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, the contract thing, it was kind of like, oh, what the hell are you doing? And the fact that everybody was like, I hold out hope that, so Takai, in most instances, is the voice of reason.
Yeah.
But she totally just caved into emotional soup at the end of this episode and went along with Keisuke's. Keisuke is very childish.
Keisuke's bullshit.
He's absolutely childish. And this whole contract thing is very juvenile.
It is.
So, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm sick of his shit already.
He's foolish. He's
emotionally stunted.
He took the words right out of my mouth. Yes, he is absolutely emotionally stunted. And we can see how he just collapsed into this abyss of sorrow for 10 years following her death, and just utterly failed as a human being that entire time.
Yep.
Which also impacted Mai during her formative years, during her adolescence.
We joke that Genma is the worst father in anime. Maybe
Keisuke. Yeah, Keisuke
the
is
worst father in anime.
Yeah, he's pretty pathetic. Truly and absolutely pathetic.
Very pathetic.
The episode wasn't bad though. It was just, I don't know.
I think he's my least favorite character in this series.
There's no hope for him.
Right. Every time he shows up and acts foolish, I just roll my eyes.
I don't know if we can ever see him have a positive character development arc, because he apparently has no will of his own.
Yeah.
Takai is essentially his will. So, I don't know. Out of the 3 family members, I think Mai is the one that shows the most potential for a positive growth arc throughout the story. She needs to just grow beyond the hole that her father has pretty much left her in. She needs to get her feet under her, find confidence and success in the working world, and then move out of the house.
The show is just takes one step forward and then kicks itself in the nuts and goes 2 steps back.
It did kind of spin its wheels this episode.
And I just don't like that. It's a bad sign.
Well, it's 3 episodes in. We'll see what happens.
It's a bad sign. We've had other shows where we've had backpedals like this, and the show is just kind of meh for us.
True.
I'm looking at you, Say You Radio.
Say Your Radio, yeah. So we're finally able to watch episode 1 of Blue Miburo.
And boy, howdy, was it fucking entertaining. The show opens up in roughly 1903 with a very old man a very old man Shinpachi, who is one of the lieutenants of the Shinsengumi, and he is asked by a bunch of young children to kind of regale them with a story. And he tells them about the formation of the Blue Wolves of Mibu. And so he begins telling them about how there were a bunch of brave people that joined, and he focuses solely on one with white hair. And then we cut back to 1863, and we begin following two Ronin who have wandered into a town and head into Kyoto, to be more specific, and have stopped at a restaurant.
Yeah, just like a little restaurant.
They stop at a restaurant that's run by an old woman and two young children that she has adopted, which we find out a little bit later. But the two Ronin are asked to sit outside because they're full, and this is where they meet Neo and Iroha, who are siblings. I'm putting air quotes. They serve these two Ronin and begin striking up a conversation with them. And this is where Neo points out to Ichikata that if he doesn't like sweet foods, they also boil tofu. And with that, Okita is like, oh, we'll be back tomorrow. And it cuts to the next day. They come back. Or actually, before then, some men inside of this inn are just like, those are the wolves of Mibu. And they're like, don't fuck with them. They're basically pieces of shit. And the old woman chases them out with a broom. Like, very, very typical, like, old anime. Like, get the fuck out of my shop. We then go to the next day. The two men come back. There's no one in the shop, but the old woman is happy to serve the two of them. And that's where we get the exposition that Neo and Iroha are not actually biological siblings. They are adoptive siblings, basically, because this old woman has taken them in off the streets and given them a place to live where Iroha's parents have died and Neo was abandoned at a temple.
Yeah.
And so these men continue to converse with this old woman, just kind of like talking about how, like, she acts as a parent, more like a grandparent to them. Just more mundane stuff happens. And eventually we get to the point where the two kids are walking home at night and a bunch of ninja show up. Neo remembers that ladies in the town have been talking about people coming around and kidnapping young children, and he realizes that these what appear to be ninja have come for them.
Bandits,
ninja. They're dressed in stereotypical ninja.
They're covering their identity.
And as they're cornered, suddenly the two wolves appear and end up saving Neo and Iroha from being kidnapped, and find out that they know one of these kidnappers and interrogate him after beating up all of his friends, first by threatening to almost kill him, and then Neo realizes that and points out that one of them is being held against his will to do this in his own hostage situation with this unknown group of kidnappers. The two wolves go and end up taking care of the kidnappers, returning all the children to the town, and Neo realizes that they were used as bait, has this huge, like, blow up at them, which makes sense for a kid his age. Like, to blow up and then immediately break down into tears. I'm assuming he's probably under 12 years old.
He might be 12 or 13.
He looks young. I feel like it makes sense that he would have that level of, like, emotional roller coaster.
Well, I think Neo is, or not Neo, I think Iroha. I think they alluded to Iroha being 10.
Okay.
And I think Neo is maybe 2 or 3 years older than her. That's just what I feel.
He is not, like, emotionally stable yet.
No.
So seeing that range of emotions go through him after dealing with that situation makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
The wolves are basically like, we're going to take you in and make you stronger like you want to be to help protect people. And this is where they basically adopt him and take them to their base.
I think adopt is a...
They take him under their wing.
We've literally watched them recruit a child soldier.
I'm okay with this.
Oh, okay. So...
Wartime. And no, they said that he wasn't going to do any fighting. Remember? Okita's like, You won't fight at all. You'll do cooking and cleaning and all that stuff.
And then, did you watch the preview for episode
Shut
2?
Shut up.
Look, they brought him back to the training camp. They're like, here's guys practicing kata.
Shut up. I'm gonna believe this man at his word. I feel like this is a pretty good introduction episode to like a lot of the major characters, what we're gonna see throughout the series.
So I think the episode definitely set the stage. It's presenting the members of what will eventually be the Shinsengumi as noble heroes.
Yes.
Which may or may not be accurate historically.
That's fine. I'm okay with this.
And then we're establishing the concept that I always forget that Neo is fine-tuned to detail and reasoning. He's very keen. He is quick with his deductions, and that's what I feel that's really what attracted the attention, especially with Hichikata, particularly the situation when they first visited the restaurant, and Neo was like, "Hey, I realized that I've noticed that you're not really eating the dango. So if you don't like sweets, we do have other options." So I think they're presenting Neo as this prodigy.
Yeah, like a hyper observant.
Yeah, which both Okita and Hichikata are keen to get within their ranks, given the task that they know they're facing. So backstory, or historical context, the Wolves of Mibu were a group of individuals who were pro-Tokugawa shogun, who eventually became one of the fighting forces during the war called the Shinsengumi. The episode was okay. I didn't like how much it had to telegraph everything. And then after the telegraphing, they had to reiterate all of the stuff, the entire kidnapping plot thing. So you have the first encounter with the two gentlemen at the restaurant, and then you see these two women walking down the street, and you pay attention to their conversation talking about the kidnappings. It's like, oh, plot point. Obviously foreshadowing.
I think they were trying to make you believe that the two men were the kidnappers.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. I think they're assuming a lot of people aren't gonna know.
Oh, yes, they are. They're absolutely. This is integral history in Japan. Everybody knows who these people are.
I think they're trying to potentially be divisive, to make you think at first that these men were kidnapping people, and then be like, oh, actually, they're here to stop the kidnapping.
Nah, to me, it's paint by numbers plotting. But I know some of the history. I know who these people are. I know kind of what they did. They were pro-shogunate warriors during the Boshin War.
Look, I'm trying here.
No, I know. Not that they weren't necessarily bad guys, but they weren't necessarily good guys either. But I find it interesting. I mean, there is a romanticization of the Shinsengumi, even though it was effectively group against what became modern Japanese society.
Right.
But Japanese history is complicated. It is. It's not a black and white thing, especially when you have just this homogenous identity. How are you going? It's more difficult to villainize certain movements throughout the history of the nation. So even though the Shinsengumi were on technically the wrong side of the war, it's still a highly respected and beloved portion of Japanese history. And really not knowing the real personalities of these gentlemen, which I don't know. I don't know how much is really written about what these people were like as in real life. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely painting them as heroes, which the story is going to show them as heroes. But I think they tried a little too hard, especially with Okita. It seemed uncharacteristic that they did not outright cut down the kidnappers. These are men who, live in an era of die by the sword. So it would have been essentially, kill first, then ask questions in a lot of cases. But just like Batman, we can't have heroes killing people all the time, can we? Again, though, Rwanda, child soldier recruitment. No, maybe not. Okay, so I didn't pick up on it with Mio. I didn't pick up on it with Neo until they brought it up, but I picked up on it right away with Iroha. So there is an old Buddhist poem that at some point was used as the order of writing hiragana and katakana characters. And the poem uses, I don't remember what the poem says, it's been a long time since I've thought about it. It uses all of the standardized sounds that are used to make up the bulk of the Japanese language, each only once throughout the poem. It begins Iroha ni Hoheito. So that's why they were talking about the order of birth between Iroha and Neo, because Iroha is the very first set of characters for the poem. So you would think the person who came first in the family would be named for the first part of the poem. And then I brought that up with Ranma, because they have Iroha written on the scroll in the dojo. It's a very integral part of Japanese language, and just kind of like
Makes sense now.
Yeah.
I thought the episode was fun.
It's a bit shonen.
It is a bit shonen.
It is a bit shonen.
I'm okay with it.
I know you are. I know
you're not.
Though, you know what? If we're gonna deal with a story that takes place during the Boshin War, I will gladly take this over Rurouni Kenshin nowadays.
There you go.
So, I welcome a Shinsengumi story, even if this is, pre-Shinsengumi story.
It is probably gonna turn into a Shinsengumi story.
It may just.
We're getting 2 whole cores worth of Blue Miburo.
Yeah, but a shonen story can spin its wheels indefinitely.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
So how did you feel about this first episode?
How did I feel? It was okay. It felt paint by numbers. It felt like it was aimed at an audience that was less perceptive, and how they very noticeably pointed things out. I think I would have been more okay with it if they didn't then reference the old women or the 2 women discussing the thing during the event of the attempted kidnapping. It was like, we knew this was coming. Did you really need to?
I mean, that is a shonen thing.
Refresh our memory on this. Like, are we that inattentive?
It is a shonen thing.
I felt like it was talking down to me.
You keep saying paint by numbers plot, as if every slice of life anime is brand spanking new every time. Oh, no. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying specifically in this episode is there were literally no surprises. It was like, hey, there's a kidnapping later in the episode. Oh, look, they're kidnapped. Oh, wait, they're getting saved. Oh, yeah, they were here because this was a setup for them trying to find the bad guys. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. It was plainly obvious within the first 7 minutes of the show what was going to happen. And then the whole recruiting thing was like, oh, okay. They see something in him. They're like, come on, join us. It bothered me. I fucking love this shit.
I know. Because you want to be Neo. Right?
No.
Right? You
no,
sure?
I just enjoy this type of fucking show, Steve.
I'm kidding.
You're so aggressive when we do fucking shonen shit.
We haven't. This is the first time we've done shonen.
You liar.
Remonster is not shonen.
I like it. I think it's fun. I think the show started off to a great start.
Like I said, it established the tone of the show.
I'm excited for next week.
Oh, we're gonna. I think Neo's gonna see some things.
He gets ass beat.
He's not gonna get his ass beat, but he's suddenly gonna come way closer to reality than he was thinking he was gonna come close to.
He gonna get his ass beat.
Now he's gonna start seeing people like cut down right in front of him. He's like, oh god, this is like legit.
Let's go. I want to see them blood spatters like we got in the trailer.
Yeah.
Also, I do think we get a time jump because I think you see Neo older.
We might, yeah. Maybe. We might.
Because I think in the trailer you see him older.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that too. Like, we may see him. There's a lot of characters in this show.
There are a lot of characters in this show. Also, the opening theme is a fucking bop. Like, hashtag bop.
It's a very shonen opening.
I loved it. So, letter grade. This is the first episode of this.
Yeah. I give it a C+.
Give it a B-.
Okay.
I'm giving it room to grow. Because I liked the first episode, but there's still plenty of show left. Holy shit. This week on Orb was packed full of adventure. So this week on Orb, we had a huge development of the plot. We first start off with Raffle going and recreating all the heliocentrism stuff, making copies of it to put away into the locked container, and then burning anything that is extra and that he doesn't need. While he's off putting things away, his adoptive father finds an unburned piece of information. But before that, Raffle runs into Noak, who gives him a rather intense shakedown, asking him about like what he's doing, where he's going, what was his involvement with Hubert, and kind of just reading him the riot act.
Well, he questions him about the necklace.
Yeah, and he questions him about the necklace as well. And Raffle kind of just goes like, I wear it as a reminder of Hubert's awful heresy, and I'm a good little Christian boy. Then he runs off home.
And like freaks out behind closed doors.
Yeah, freaks out. And then we get this interaction where he sees this paper that he thought had fully burnt, sees that corrections were made, and then his adoptive father's like, you should make sure all the shit burns before you leave. Which, foreshadowing.
Yeah.
We get Raffle asking about what he did. If he did that, gets completely ignored. Next day, Taki comes home.
Yeah, I think it's like Petoskey or something like that, yeah.
And is then interrogated by Noak, basically like, this is your second heresy, buddy.
Yeah, we find out that Toki
also believes in heliocentrism.
Yeah, that he had been caught once and has already gone through the Inquisition.
We basically get this whole shakedown, and Noak is like, either report Raffle or die.
Well, so Noak brings up that Hubert had been one of Petoskey's students previously. So he's it feels like he's kind of doing a correlation thing.
Yeah.
So given the fact that you are a repentant heretic, and that a student of yours is now a dead heretic, is there this pattern of illicit knowledge that you're propagating? And we suspect your adopted child is going down the same path.
Which then leads to Petoskey basically having this huge moral dilemma and ends up reporting Raffle to Noak.
As a way to entice him to expose, his adopted son's misdeeds, Noak convinces him that it'll just be a formal thing with him. Like, he's a first-time offender, he's a kid, it won't be terrible, just do the right thing.
Yeah. And then Raffle gets arrested, taken to the prison, basically has this conversation with Noak where Noak's like, here's this terrible torture device called the pear of something.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Pear of justice or something.
It was the thing that he shoves in people's mouths.
And cranks it open and apparently rips their cheeks open. So we get that horrific mental image.
Yeah.
He basically is like, just repent tomorrow, and then you can go to school to be a theologian and forget all about this astronomy bullshit.
Yep.
And then Raffle has a nice long think tank with himself.
He communes with the heavens again.
We then cut to the next morning, get these old elderly, probably it's the bishop.
The magistrates, probably.
Yeah, the bishop and the magistrates.
Yeah.
They're like, repent. And he basically grabs this school application, tears it in half, says, I believe in heliocentrism, and is now, I didn't understand, was he sentenced to death or was he sentenced to...
Yeah, he sealed his fate.
Yeah, okay, so he got sentenced to death.
Yeah.
And he...
No. He hadn't been...
You're right, he got sentenced to torture.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to start torturing, because the following day would then be the beginning of his torturing.
Yeah. So then they give him a bottle of wine. He takes poppy seeds so that he passes out, which at first Noak thinks that he fucking drugged him. Yeah.
So Noak shows up while Raffle is kind of like doing his last meal before the day of excruciating pain. And Raffle's like, hey, it's sad, for somebody to drink alone. Why don't you join me? And Noak takes a cup, and then Raffle starts talking about poppy and its effects. And
shows the empty bag.
Yeah. And then Noak's like, did you poison me?
And he tries to make himself vomit.
Yeah.
And then Raffle's like, nope, I did it to myself.
Yep.
And then Noak leaves.
Well, and in that whole diatribe, he starts talking about how the truth that he follows are the truths from before the age of the church and the teachings of the golden age of enlightenment from, ancient Greece. And then Noak's like, how could you follow these heretics? He's like, because that's the truth of, it was a like beautiful truth or something like that is what he said.
Yeah, the same thing that Hubert had said.
He essentially offs himself like he's Socrates.
And then they fucking burn Raffle at the stake.
Yeah.
And
then we get a time skip.
We get a time skip, yeah.
10 years in the future with somebody being forced under duress
up the mountain
to uncover Raffle and
Hubert's research
and Hubert's hidden cache of forbidden knowledge.
This series is fucking wild.
So 3 episodes and we've lost 2 characters that were presented to us as pivotal main characters, and they're both dead now.
Yeah.
I
watched this today, and I went to the gym with Bridget, and I'm just like, this show already fucking killed a main character. Like, we've been following
it killed the character that is presented to us as the main character.
Right, he's in the fucking end sequence and the title sequence.
Yeah. Like, we thought this was just going to be, he was going to be the person that, you know, figures out heliocentrism and presents it to the world.
We thought he was him.
Yeah, no, apparently not.
No, he is dead.
He's probably going to be speaking to the future generations of heretic researchers through his papers. But,
fam, he just dead.
Yeah, he
crispy.
Oh, yeah.
He crispy.
That was good. I love it.
They subverted our expectations.
Yeah, no, it was so good. Just killing off characters left and right that are plot developments. You're like, oh my god, where's this going to keep going?
This is like the Game of Thrones of anime.
Yeah, except there is no main character apparently.
You're right. Petoskey.
Maybe it could be. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, we should. I mean, Nowak. Maybe Nowak is the main character.
Fuck. 360. He does a Saul to Paul thing.
And it seemed a little ridiculous, honestly, given the fact that Raffle's a 12-year-old kid. But all of Nowak's confidence just evaporated under the brazenness of Raffle and his it seemed a little artificial. No, it seemed a little against the character that's been established already for Nowak, and how quickly he was confused and afraid of the determination of this child before him, who he sees as just a pathetic heretic. So that seemed a little unrealistic for the character that's been portrayed with Raffle as being this hard-edged sociopath. If we see him again...
Nowak?
Nowak, what did I say?
You said Raffle was the hard sociopath.
Nowak. Wow, I just can't keep names together. We don't have to worry about Raffle anymore anyways, because he's dead now.
He crispy.
There's a good chance that we'll be in this 10 years in the future from the point of Raffle's death. So we may see a changed Nowak.
Maybe.
This may have impacted him in a way that the others have not impacted him.
Maybe.
So who knows?
Or he'll be even more sociopath.
He could be even more sociopath. I don't know.
Broke him, and he's now just like,
kill them all.
I'm killing everybody.
This child's death was unnecessary. All he had to do was say he loved the church. I was like, why are we concentrating on this bag he has? What does this bag represent? And then they skipped to the thing of like, oh, it's poppy. I'm like, oh, that's the whatever he got from the poppy seeds. Got it.
He really did it, Mr. Krabs.
He did it. He Socrates himself, or Socrates. I don't know if you picked up on it, but in the beginning of the interrogation between Nowak and Petoskey, did you notice? They shot the camera shot was on Petoskey's hands. Did you notice how he just brought his fingers into the safety of his hand to hide them from Nowak? Did you notice that? I was like, oh, that's such a good detail, because Nowak, especially now, or Petoskey, especially now understanding that he has already gone through this heretic
recantment.
Yeah. Re-education, that he
probably lost
more than likely has lost his fingernails before, so the memories are returning to him. I really liked that moment.
It was very good.
The interrogation reminded me also, it made me think a lot of the opening sequence from Inglourious Bastards, of that phenomenal interrogation. This was a great episode. This was really good, and I love the fact that we have no idea. We cannot predict what's going to happen.
Subverted all of our
expectations. It was great. We got the time skip right. And we got the thing with Petoskey right, but that was pretty much laid out for us anyways.
Yeah. We saw a time skip coming.
Yeah.
Did not see
Not in that
Raffle
way.
dying.
Nope, did not see him dying.
Well, they played the whole fucking series to be like, this show's about Raffle.
Yes.
And you're just like, okay.
Cool, all right.
Oh, God.
You know what, though? I like this better because I don't know.
I want them to change the opening every time they kill the main character.
Oh God. I could see
how many title sequences can we go through in one season?
Right. If we would have just spent like the show following Raffle for 5 years of his life as, he's like dodging the Inquisition and everything, it might have gotten stagnant pretty quickly.
Now they're just like, you fucked up immediately.
Yes, but what's important is the knowledge and how did he put it? He was willing to sacrifice himself because he knew that what he was doing to inspire other people would be more important than him saving his own self. He martyred himself for science is really what it boiled down to. Yeah, TsumaSho backpedaled a little bit. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Miburo, good, solid start to a show that we've been waiting for.
It laid firm groundwork for, I think, what we are going to expect from the show.
And then Orb was
Orb was great. Just
we got another strong show on my list.
Oh my God. Yeah.
They've been working to make sure that people get paid.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate the fact that we're dealing with a story that we cannot determine how it's going to flow.
Here I'm hoping again that the English dub hits it eventually.
Oh, I don't know. That might be a hard cry. I don't think this is going to be that popular of a show, to be fair.
Just so many good shows.
Yeah, Orb. I can't wait to keep seeing how Orb progresses. It's been really good so far. It's been great. If this keeps up the pace, holy cow.
We're gonna get a bombshell at the end.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It could be interesting. So this brings up an interesting concept. How far into the future will this story take us?
I don't know.
Because we're definitely not necessarily tied to the lifespan of Raffle.
He fucking dead.
Because he's dead, yeah.
He's not just dead, he fucking dead.
He is
He's pushing up daisies.
It's crispy.
He crispy.
Yeah. So who knows? This could span centuries.
Maybe. Well,
it could.
The geocentric heliocentric debate was not that long.
But I think at this point, we can't
guarantee that it's just heliocentrism versus...
We can't guarantee that it's just going to concentrate on this idea.
It's just going to keep taking hot topics about the Earth and just...
Well, no, it could...
The Earth's not flat.
With Raffle's death now and us moving 10 years into the future beyond his existence, it is not unthinkable that this show may conclude its story with us in the future seeing this cascade and ramification of this early work into greater things that are directly linked to his efforts.
I mean, realistically, it's going to be...
It probably won't, though, honestly. It's probably going to stay historical.
Right, but realistically, it's probably going to be like, it'll get to the point where heliocentrism becomes accepted, and then it will move to the debate on orbits, and then it'll be maybe on gravity.
Maybe. I think at this point, all bets are off, though. We have no idea what the end point of the show is.
I'm like going on the title of the show, on the movements of the Earth.
Correct.
It seems like it could be this linear where we start with a geocentric belief of the planet, and then we solve that.
Yeah.
And then the equivalent to Isaac Newton shows up, is like, this is probably how orbits work.
Yeah.
Because there was the whole debate thing between Newton and Leibniz about orbits. We then get to this point where Newton's right, proves Leibniz wrong, get these elliptical orbits of planets.
Yeah.
And then get to the equivalent to like Einstein showing how like gravity and gravitational waves.
Yep.
And how like all that works.
Yep. We don't, at this point, we don't know what our end point is.
Who fucking knows?
We'll find out. We've got many episodes to go.
Yes, we have 2 whole cores.
All right. Even with the downturn in TsumaSho, it was a good week. I'm glad that Blue Miburo finally started. I don't know why it was delayed, but it's finally here. Anything else?
Like, follow, subscribe, go to Discord, check out our Instagrams and shit.
Yeah. And we also have our second weekly series where we discuss the remake of Ranma 1/2 that comes out on Fridays. So definitely check that out if you're a fan of Umiko Takahashi or Ranma in general. Otherwise, yeah. Thanks for listening.
Let us know what you think the trajectory of Orb is going to be.
The trajectory
if
of
you're
Orb,
watching.
there we go. I love it.
Let's get some debate on the trajectory of Orb's season path.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again. We will see you guys next time.